Hey everybody, how are you doing? I recently had one of those shocking moments of parenting when you think, holy crap, my kid is what age? My son will be turning 18 later this year. He's going to be a grown-up. Like I'm 51 and I don't even feel like a grown-up. So my son's impending 18th birthday does not really mean the same as it does for most kids. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you'll know that my son is autistic. In most respects, his life is not going to change a whole lot once he's turned 18. He'll continue to go to school until he's 21, and he won't go through a lot of the things a typical teenager does, like getting a driver's license or jumping into the dating pool or going away to college. But funding. For the last 13 or 14 years, my son has been the recipient of several government benefits. This is the great thing about living in Canada. He has a disability tax credit that I can claim on my income tax every year, and the child benefit payment that I receive from the government every month includes a disability allowance. Then there are two specific benefits that we receive from the Ontario government. One is called Special Services at Home, and it's used to pay for respite workers, summer programs, camps, that kind of thing. The other is called Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities, and that funds the additional expenses that come with having a disability. Each form of funding has its own rules about what you can spend the money on and what records you have to keep and so on and so forth. Navigating all of this while I was still coming to terms with the diagnosis was like trying to sail a boat through a storm when you don't know shit about sailing and someone just plunked you down in front of the steering wheel thingy and said, "Here, you drive." So now I'm at the point where I've figured out how to sail the boat, and now I have to learn how to ride a horse instead, because I have to get my son transitioned from child funding to adult funding. It's a daunting prospect, and I will tell you about the process so far. Fortunately, the funding system does allow parents and guardians to start the application process before their kid actually turns 18. The idea is that by the time the kid turns 18, their application has been processed and approved, and everything is in place for the funding to start flowing right away. So the first thing I did several months ago was talk to the guidance counselor at my son's school. I was really just looking for information at that point, like how do I apply and what supporting documents do I need, that kind of stuff. The guidance counselor told me which documents were needed, and he even said, "Hey, good news, I have both of these documents in the school record and I can email them to you." So, great. Next thing I had to do was phone the ODSP office in my region. ODSP stands for Ontario Disability Support Program, and this is the funding that I need to apply for. If you have ODSP funding, you receive money from the government each month that you can use for your living expenses. It's not really enough for a human being to live on, but that's a whole other issue. I'll talk about that another day. Anyway, I called the ODSP office, and because it's government, I was expecting a bit of a runaround. But the lady was really nice. She asked me for the case number associated with my son's current funding, and she was able to pull up all of his information. She told me that she was going to send me some forms to fill in and sign, and she said that included in this would be a package to be completed for medical verification of the disability. In other words, I'd have to take my son to a doctor who would have to fill in this long form. I would have to send the disability application to one place and the medical form to another place, and this lady was explaining all of this to me, and I was feeling my brain start to glaze over. It was kind of like a deer in the headlights thing. I started to feel really anxious. But then, the lady said that if I call DSO, I can bypass all of the medical stuff. And I was all like, who's DSO? It turns out that DSO stands for Disability Services Ontario, and they provide all kinds of services and supports to adults with disabilities. They set you up with respite services, community programs, home support, all kinds of stuff. And if you qualify for their services, you are automatically deemed medically eligible for ODSP, and you don't have to have a doctor fill in any of those forms. So I called DSO and I spoke to another very nice lady. She asked me for the documentation that my son's guidance counselor had sent to me, and she said that I would be receiving something in the mail within a couple of weeks. About a week or so later, I got this envelope from the ODSP office. I opened it up and found this massive stack of forms. Fortunately, most of them are pre-filled and all I have to do is sign them. This is the form that I would have to take to the doctor if my son didn't get approved for DSO services. So I put all these forms aside, figuring that, I'll just wait until I get something from DSO and take it from there. After another 10 days, thank goodness, I got this letter from DSO stating that my son has been approved for DSO services. And it says right here in this letter, you will not have to verify your disability again to qualify for the Ontario Disability Support Program. So, yay! I now have everything I need, hopefully, to complete this application. Right now I'm going to fill in this form and I'll drop it off at the post office tomorrow. I don't want to just drop it into the mailbox. I need to get a tracking number for this. But first I have to fill in the form. So my envelope is good to go. I am parked outside the post office and I'm going to go in and mail it off. I did have to call the ODSP lady to ask her about the DSO letter. I wasn't too sure exactly where to send it to, what to do with it, and she said I can just scan it and send it to her as an email attachment. So I am going to do that, and I will send it to her along with the tracking number for this letter. So George's application is about to go. Hopefully the line in the post office won't be too long. I just waited 40 minutes at the grocery pickup. 40 minutes! I think they forgot about me. Well, that was strangely quick. I went in and my heart kind of sank because there was a sign on the counter that said back in 5 minutes. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how long ago did they leave this sign? And I'm thinking I'm going to be standing there waiting for someone for ages. But less than a minute later, the guy showed up and helped me. And there was no one in the line. I was the only person there. And I'm like, why? It's Saturday morning and this is when post offices are usually jammed. But anyway, I got my tracking number. I've sent my envelope off. So now all we have to do is wait for a response. I don't know how long that'll take. I will ask the lady when I send her my email later on today. So that's it. That was the start of our ODSP application process. I will do an update video when I actually have an update for you guys. In the meantime, stay safe and well, live your best life and be kind. Bye.